Now, the sight, nigh children, mothers and old people being killed and maimed by Israeli weapons has had a pretty effect upon Jews and indeed Gentiles who previously have wished Israel well. Some friends of Israel find it impossible to reconcile what's happening with the cherished picture of an embattled homeland for a persecuted people. That is not, they say, how it looks now. To discuss what effect this conflict's having in the Jewish community, we're joined by the dramatist Julia Pascal, who wrote the Holocaust trilogy, the writer and philosopher Alain de Botton, and the fashion designer and writer Bella Freud. Now, the new editor of the Jewish Chronicle wrote the other day that this conflict had brought the Jewish community together in the way that would previously, perhaps he thought, have been unimaginable. Has it actually done that? Alain de Botton, what do you think?
I think if it did, that was just at the beginning. I think things are fracturing because of incidents like Sundays. It's been very hard as a Jew in Britain for a long time to look at Israel's actions in a purely benign light. There's always a feeling of loyalty towards Israel mixed with regret at some of its actions and some of its blind spots. So a natural response as an Israeli citizen, which is to criticise your government, as a British Jew becomes a little bit more tricky, and I think it becomes harder to as it were, both stay loyal to Israel and criticise the government.
What do you think, Bella Freud?
Well, I don't know any Jewish people or anyone else who shared the views of the editor of the Jewish Chronicle. Everyone I know is appalled by what's happening, and I don't think it should have anything to do with being Jewish. It's just appalling behaviour towards people. As indeed, presumably, is the behaviour of Hezbollah, isn't it? Hezbollah is a small organisation. The whole of the Lebanon has been desecrated, and also it's a very convenient distraction for what's been happening in Gaza over the last 3 months, which has been shelled every single day, and that thousands of people wounded, and also there's no way out for those people. They can't escape. They're hemmed in. It's like a prison in there, and they've got no food or anything. Now, when you hear somebody reacting to what they see like that, what do you think, Julia Pascal?
Well, I go to Haifa every year, and I think the 150 rockets dropping there every day, and I think you say Hezbollah is a small organisation, but 150 rockets every day in Israel means that most of the people are living underground, that people are living in fear, and I think that British Jews are asking themselves really big questions about is the whole state of Israel now under threat? That's what it feels like. You think this is a proportionate response, do you? I don't think there's much alternative. How else do you fight what's coming in? I just think there's no choice. What goes through your mind when you see pictures of the children we saw yesterday? What goes through your mind, knowing that that was carried out by Israel? What goes through my mind is, where were the men? I saw women and I saw children, and I thought, where were their men folk? Were these Hezbollah fighters who'd left their women and children there? Does that make it legitimate to kill them? It's absolutely appalling to kill them, but I don't think it's Israel's strategy. So the only thought that went through your mind was, where are the men? No, it was my second thought. My first thought was absolute empathy and horror for the women and the children, and my second thought was, wait a minute, I'm only seeing women and children, I'm not seeing any men. What's behind this? Is there a more important question behind this? Why were those people left there? Has it made you, Alain de Botton, re-evaluate what Israel's about?
I think a lot of the reporting has suggested that Israel has, for some bizarre reason, decided to destroy a country. I think that's naive. I think we have to understand what Hezbollah is about. It is an organisation, terrorist organisation, funded by Iran, dedicated to the destruction of all Jews wherever they are in the world. So that's not a pretty organisation. And I think one's otherwise going to go down a sort of very clean moral route where the Israelis are the bad guys and the Lebanese are the poor victims. It is more complicated than that. So I think one has to have, the ultimate position is to have great sympathy for the loss of human life, but ultimately a realistic political picture of what's happening on the ground.
Yeah, but at bottom here, we have a country which was created as a haven for a persecuted people in the shadow of a terrible, terrible thing that happened in Europe. And now it looks very, very different, doesn't it? What do you think when you see these pictures? I just think it's incredible to have semantics. It's so, people are being killed, so what, where are the men? What about those people? Those people are dying. And if everyone focused on what solution instead of who's right and what the meaning of immediate is, I think it's sickening, it's morally outrageous.
Israel has one of the most powerful armies in the whole world. It could destroy anywhere at the drop of a hat. And, you know, it goes on as if it's the victim. It is a powerful person.
This whole story?
That is a wasted conversation.
It's not a wasted
We should be focusing on how we can create solutions. And there are no conversations. It's all about who's right. And if everyone got together and focused on, there can't be any solutions without, for a start, a withdrawal from occupied Palestine. How can you
have peace from 2000 to 2006? We had peace in Lebanon. We've had peace in Lebanon for 6 years, and Hezbollah has been armed by Iran over these 6 years, and Israel has known that and has not done anything.
There hasn't been any exchange of prisoners, which was part of the agreement, and all that bit is constantly left out of the argument. That nobody even understands that there are all thousands, 9,000 Palestinian prisoners in Israeli jails without charges. And that people don't even realise that happening because everyone goes on about terrorism. They don't talk about people. This is about people. And if everyone got together and
I think that's naive liberalism.
No, it isn't naive.
We can't
all
all
get
get
dealing
together.
with a terrorist organisation. I mean, Hezbollah's official statement, if you go to their website, they say the great thing about Israel is that you've collected all the Jews in one place,
so
you'll be able to destroy them.
What a waste of time.
Well, is it such a waste of time? I mean, if you're going to get a dialogue and a ceasefire, you need to talk to both sides. You need to see what the Israelis want and you need to see what Hezbollah wants. If you're dealing with an organisation that wants the destruction of the whole of Israel, you're going to have a trouble with a standard political process.
That is exactly the conversation that keeps everyone at war. That conversation has been going on.
I'm just saying,
and
it's
now
precisely that that's going to make a round-table conversation
Hamas.
Difficult.
If
the people halfway around the table want to destroy the other people around the table, that's going to make a difficult political process.
If you don't need to talk to those people, you talk to the people who are in a position to make things happen, and instead everyone focuses on. No, not Iran.
But we've got to look at Iran. We've got to look at the bigger picture.
No, we don't, because when we do that, all we do
is funded by Iran.
While we talk to Iran, all those children are being killed and
But you presumably understand, don't you, the sense of fear and trepidation which has surrounded Israel ever since it was founded. You must understand that.
I think that's an old continuation of Israel being a victim state, where during the Second World, obviously we were all victims.
Well, it's easy for you to say that from London, but if you're living in a country,
I've been there. Have you been to Palestine?
Yes,
I bet
been to
you
Israel
haven't.
as well. If you're surrounded by countries that all around are saying that we should wipe the country off the map, however powerful, however many nuclear bombs you have, however powerful your army, you're going to be nervous. I mean, imagine if someone said...
So you're nervous, that justifies your killing. I mean, you've seen what's going on in Lebanon.
It explains the extreme behaviour of the Israeli army.
There is no ever justification for what is being done.
Has your view changed in the course of the last few days?
I think that the behaviour of the Israeli army in Gaza and the West Bank, in my point of view, is inexcusable. The behaviour of the Israeli army on the Lebanese border is more understandable, because this is an area from which they withdrew in a peace deal, UN-brokered peace deal, and the idea was we give up land and we don't get rockets being fired at us. Since then, they've had 1,600 rockets fired at them in 10 days. You can understand their nervousness. Now, the tactics, I think, are completely wrong. I don't think this is the right way. I don't think peace is going to come from this. But you can understand much more than the behaviour in Gaza.
What about you, Julia? Has your view changed at all in the last week or so?
Not really. I mean, it's made me much more aware of the bigger picture. Because I go to Israel once a year and I try and understand and I speak to people of all sides, I get very much the picture in Israel. But now looking at this, I'm starting to look at Iran and Syria and 7/7 and 9/11. I'm looking at it much more internationally, and I don't just see this as an Israeli problem. I see this as a global problem, and I think it's naive just to focus on Israel. I think we have huge world movements and we have huge world problems to do with the rise of Islamic fundamentalism, and we cannot ignore that, and that's tied up with Hezbollah, which is called the Party of God. So Sharia law is included in that, treatment of women is included in that. So it's a big one.
Thank you all very much. Thank you.